Hey everyone, welcome to Buick Outdoors. If you're new around here, my name is Sheldon Marion, and today's video we're going to be heading out to the woods and we're going to be cutting down some diamond willow. I'm going to show you how you make your very own diamond willow walking stick. Hope you enjoy. So when you're looking for a diamond willow, everything that I read, they said that you want to find them when they're nice and green. Unfortunately, where we are, a big forest fire went through here, but there still is a lot of diamond willow. And in here, this one specific spot anyways, we have a lot that are kind of like this. So you can see it has that very distinct diamond willow holes and shapes and stuff. So for this one, I'm going to see if I can salvage maybe one of these that got caught up in this fire and see if it'll work. And if not, I have a couple at home that are already been cut and stripped and have been drying for a couple of months now, before the fire actually went through here. But I'm going to cut up a couple of these anyways and then get them into the truck, and then we'll go home and we'll start stripping this. So through all this burnt wreckage here, I found one that looks really neat. We have all sorts of knots and that very distinguished diamond shape to them. And I even took my knife and I peeled some of the bark away here just to see how easy the bark peeled off. If it was completely dry, I'd probably just leave it, but it actually peeled off real nice. But then also on the inside, with this one being kind of half partially burnt, it has some very, very unique colors to it. And then down here where I'll cut it off, and you want to make sure it's big enough for a nice little handle, and it's going to be nice and sturdy, and it's also long enough. So up here I'll probably cut it off. So with that being said, I'm going to cut this one down, and then I'll cut it to length. It'll probably start out around this tall, and then I can kind of adjust it once I get home, cut it shorter or not. But yeah, one thing you don't want to do is come out, find a stick that you really like, and then cut it too short, because then instead of having something to actually lean on, you're gonna have it like a cane, which would still be pretty neat, especially if you could steam it and you had a form you could mold it. But I don't do that stuff. That's a little too high-tech for me. But yeah, I'm going to cut this one down, and then we'll take it home and we'll start peeling it. There we go. I think this stick is gonna make a really neat walking stick. Got all the diamond willow shapes with some cool discoloration from the burn, and we definitely made it plenty long enough. One thing you want to take into consideration too when you're doing this is as it dries on the very bottom and top, there's a good probably 6 inches or so that when it dries out, there's a good potential that it'll actually crack. So while leaving this extra long, if it does crack on both ends, you can just kind of trim that off, and then we'll still have plenty of stick to work with. But anyways, we're gonna take this, throw it into the truck, maybe grab a couple more while we're in this area, and then we'll go home and we'll start peeling them. Well, we made her back from the woods. We end up getting 3 really nice diamond willows that are just full of these little diamond patterns. And then for this part, it's really straightforward. Basically, you just need a nice little knife. For me, I carry around these little buck pocket knives. And also, one thing I like to use is one of these little ceramic sharpeners. So this one, it says mustad on it, but you see these all over the place. It's actually a hook sharpener on one end, and then ceramic teeth here in the middle. And to use these, you just put your knife in there. It's pretty simple. But yeah, the combo of a really good knife like Buck and just a simple little sharpener like this really goes a long ways when you're peeling this off. And even if you don't have a really good knife, if you just have kind of a semi-par one, heck, even a steak knife would work. You're mainly just pulling the bark off these, and it does take a little bit of time when they're dried out like this. But if you get them when they're real green, you can basically start kind of way down here, and you can grab this, and even now, so you can pull off these really long strips. And here, around the diamond willow, like the actual diamond part, with this one, because they're so unique and different, I kind of want to leave that burnt part inside. But as you can see, this one is just green enough where you can actually pull some of this off in nice long strands. And that's where, like I said, you don't exactly need a really good knife, but having one kind of helps the process a little bit. So basically start it, give her a pull. There you go. One thing that's cool with this burnt stuff is that it almost has the same coloring as some pines, like the real dead dry pine, where it has like that green look to it. So I don't know if that'll be throughout the whole thing or if that color actually stays, but either way, it's pretty nifty. So here I just finished peeling this, and you know what? I'm very surprised at how well this actually is turning out. I hope the camera can kind of pick up some of the colors, but this thing is just absolutely beautiful. And so what I gotta do now is I got these other two that all get peeled up, and then we'll take these all downstairs and put them into the laundry room. And I have two others that I peeled probably 3 months ago or so, and they've been sitting in a nice warm place with some air moving through them, so they should be fairly dry, and we'll be able to start to finish off those walking sticks. But for now, for how cool this is, I almost like these burnt ones a little bit better than just the regular green ones. But anyways, I got some more work to do, so the next time you see me, we'll be heading downstairs and we'll be grabbing the other two that have been pretty well dry aged and seasoned. Alrighty, so we're down in the basement here. I pretty well brought these downstairs and then went up, had a bite to eat. So they've been drying for like whatever it is, an hour. So it's just enough to kind of get the outside moisture kind of somewhat dry, and you can kind of see the colors. A lot of it, you know, nothing has really changed too much. The little bit of time that it has been in here, pretty well, some of the green and whites that were on here, which was basically like a surface mold, I kind of wiped those off and they've been drying, and that stuff's pretty well gone. But this one here almost has like a snake pattern to it, and I'm really hoping that when it comes time to finish this one, when it comes to sanding, the sanding doesn't take it all away. I think it's going to be really, really neat. And then same thing with this one here. You see some of the colors. I might be blocking the light, but yeah. So those will eventually go here in this window. And I put it here because we have a draft right there that's open. Comes in here and blows a bunch of air right here where these ones have been sitting. And these, I did these a couple months ago now, so they're nice and dry. One thing with this big one, it's right at the very top, you can see where it's been splitting. So it's split down to about here, so I'm going to lose a couple of inches. I might be able to do something, maybe put like a wrap or something like that on here, but this one, when I first brought it down here, it was, well, at least probably twice the weight, and now this thing, it's extremely light. And I was kind of worried about this small one because it's so thin, but it's good and solid, and again, extremely light, and you know, solid hardwood. So these things are going to be just wicked walking sticks. But now it's going to be time to start sanding these. And for the sandpaper, what I got here is I got 1500 grit to finish it, 320 for kind of like a secondary sanding, and then I got 100 grit. I think when I bought the sandpaper there was no 80, but whatever, it's no big deal. So we'll start with 100 just to kind of get the rough stuff off, and then we'll do 320, and then I don't know if I'll do that 1500 or not. With me, when it comes to wood, I like to actually feel the wood. I don't like that weird kind of, it almost feels like a hard plastic with wood grain finish, which maybe not so much the 1500 grit would do, but if you had like that 3000 grit, it almost makes it too polished, and I don't really like it. And then to seal it all up, I have some tung oil, and I just bought some foam brushes. I'm sure there'll be somebody giving me crap about that, saying I should be using a cloth or something, but whatever. I'm using foam brushes. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, that's okay. But anyways, I'm gonna grab some sandpaper here, and then we're gonna go back upstairs and outside with our other walking sticks here, and we'll start to sand these up. Well, we had a little bit of a rain delay, but we're back outside here now. So I'm going to be starting off with is the 100 grit sandpaper, and I'm basically just going to do the whole thing in 100 just to kind of get rid of all this real thick stuff and all this stringy material. And with this 100 grit, you make pretty quick work of that. If you have 80 grit, it makes it go by even faster. But yeah, we're going to start getting on this project here. And you can see, as soon as you start going with this 100 grit, it starts to come off really, really quick. It doesn't take much at all when you're doing this. And like I said, with 80 grit, it's even more coarse. So this part will be even faster if you use 80 grit instead of 100. So basically, you kind of get the gist of it here. Starting here, and we'll just make our way all the way around the stick. And then, as we're happy with how the sanding's going, we'll slowly go down. I kind of work in stages, where I'll do here, 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 and then here at the end. And then once we're done with the 100 grit, we'll move on to our finer stuff. So we're gonna keep on going here, and yeah, enjoy the process. Alrighty, so we've been at this for not very long, maybe like 20 minutes, and hopefully you guys can pick up everything there. But all the little bits of green that were kind of left on here, it's all been sanded off now. Everything's starting to smooth out. Any big gouges and nicks and stuff like that have all been for the most part sanded out. You got quite a bit of sawdust happening, but it's so far it's turned out pretty good. And with this 100 grit sandpaper, you know, you can use this again for a little bit longer. You can see there's a little bit missing there, but it's no big deal. That's what it's used for. So now that we got that one done, what's this next one? I got 320, I believe. Yeah, so we got 320 grit sandpaper, and now basically I'm gonna start kind of semi-finishing this. So it's the same process as the other one. Sand it off till it gets relatively smooth, and then with this one here, I have this big crack that formed during the drying process. So I think what I'm gonna be doing, I'll probably come down about an inch from where that crack is, and I'm probably gonna cut it off. But when you're standing with it, holding it right around here is about the most comfortable spot anyways. So this, from about maybe about here up, it's all gonna be gone. So I'm not really gonna concentrate too much on sanding up here. It's gonna be basically here down to the end. But yeah, same process as the thicker stuff, and just slowly turns into a bit of a smoother finish. So we're gonna start going, take our time, make it look all nice and shiny, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alrighty, so we just finished doing the 320 grit sandpaper, and it's already nice and smooth. And honestly, if you didn't have anything any higher sandpaper, I think this would make a lovely walking stick as is right now. You know, you're not getting any splinters or anything like that. It's nice and smooth and everything. But I'm gonna make this one extremely smooth and pretty well kind of do like a high grade finish almost. Well, a high grade would be about 3,000 grit sandpaper. With this one here, it's 1,500. It's extremely fine stuff. And then when you go up to 3,000 grit, it's almost like regular paper. But with this one, same exact process as the other one, and this smooths out, I don't know, it makes it almost like a high gloss finish kind of a thing. But yeah, this one, it hardly makes any sawdust at all. And if you take your time, like, you can feel the difference. Like this is almost like silky smooth, where this stuff down here, it's just smooth, you know. So it does make a little bit of a difference if you really kind of want like a high grade finish almost. So now we have to finish her up. Right there, another little piece chip off. So I'm gonna grab my bug. I'm gonna grab my what is this, 100 grit. Just gonna use my thumb here. Just concentrate on this one spot that this kind of came off at. Then I'm gonna use my 320. There we go, that's all gone. And then get back to it with our 1,500. And just like that, it's back to being a nice smooth, just a buttery smooth wood. But we're gonna keep going on here, and we'll get the rest of this all done up. So we finished up with our real fine sandpaper, and then I took my hand saw and I just nipped the top of it off here. When I did that, it peeled a little bit here, but I like to clean up the edges around here and always kind of round it off. So we'll go back to our 100 grit sandpaper, And this part here, it won't take long to fix this up. Basically, I'm putting it on my finger like this, and I'm just gonna kind of roll it around just to round off the edge here. And it doesn't take a whole lot. You can also use your thumb, get right in there. And it's not a necessary process, but I like doing it just because I don't think too many people notice the difference, but I'll know that I didn't do it, and that'll kind of bother me. Quickly get this done too. Get that paint off of there. Go back to our 320. And then to our 1500. And this, as you can see, this last little bit doesn't take overly too much. It's just a couple of minutes just to make nice little bevel. I don't even know if the camera will be able to kind of pick that up or not, but I like it anyways. There we go. We're gonna call that good enough. Now, one thing that you can do, ones I've done in the past, I've just kind of went like that, blow the sawdust off, and then put the varnish on. And I like doing it that way, but also don't like it. When you're doing it that way, what ends up happening after you put on about 3 coats of your finish is you get that really beautiful glossy finish, but then when you grab it, there's still the finest little bit amount of sawdust on here, so it still has like that wood feeling to it, and there's like some actual serious grip. And I like that because when I use a walking stick, you know, I'm using it in the woods and stuff, whether it's raining or not, and you know, having that grip is nice. If you have something that's just gonna be sitting on the wall and it's just like a showpiece, maybe you want to use like compressed air or something like that and really blow this off. But for me, what I'm going to be doing is all these little spots, like all the diamonds, I'm just going to kind of blow them out, kind of a thing. And I'm just going to go along with a rag and wipe everything down before putting on my varnish. I'm not making these as art pieces. I'm making these for walking sticks. You can use them when you're walking through raspberry patches or whatever, or roses. Use your walking stick, push everything out of the way, and away you go. Now this rag, it picks up a little bit of that last little bit of sawdust. You also run the risk of grabbing any of these little chips and stuff and chipping your walking stick, but like I said, I'm not too concerned at this point. Basically, I'm calling it finished for sanding, and the rest is just going to be varnishing. And now when it comes to varnishing, I just use this tung oil. Low luster hand rub finish, contains pure tung oil, and it says it protects against spills. And usually I'll have like a red Solo cup or something throwaway kind of deal, but I don't have that today, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of wet my little sponge here and then just paint it on. So we'll see how this goes. And if any drips out, I'm just revarnishing my wood deck here. So I'll do that, start painting it on. One thing you could do too is you could always just like dump it on, I guess, too. But you can see real nice colors. It doesn't hide the color, it doesn't stain it, and it makes some of these wood grains kind of pop out, and it looks really nice. For right now, all the diamonds and stuff, typically what I do is I'll saturate this, and then I just kind of squeeze it into these, and then once you saturate this and you squeeze it into your little diamonds there, it'll kind of start to run off a little bit, and then I just go and pick up all the extras. Trying to wipe off a bug there. And it doesn't take a whole lot of this oil to really cover this whole thing. And I'm sure you're probably not supposed to get this on your hands and all that stuff, but I just wash my hands when I'm done with warm soapy water, kind of a deal. There we go. So that is the first coat on. It says not to let this dry in direct sunlight. Might have something to do with it evaporating instead of actually soaking up into the wood. But seeing how today is a overcast day and the wind is blowing, what I'll do is I'll just kind of lean this up against the side of the house for, I don't know, it won't be too long. Even right here in the wind, you can see that it's already drying up. So yeah, maybe about 20 minutes or so, and then we'll come back out and we'll put on a second coat. And before we put on the second coat, I'll saturate all the diamonds, and then basically the excess that comes off of the little diamonds there will be able to smear it into the rest of the walking stick, and that'll be our second coat. Well, we allowed some time to dry here with that second coat. The directions themselves, they say to wait like 24 hours before adding another coat, but I don't know, if you're putting on a lot, maybe it helps really soak it in. But honestly, once you feel this, it's pretty well dry to the touch, so I'm not too concerned. Took the rag there, and when this was almost dry but just a little bit of residue on there, was I took the rag and I just slowly wiped it down, and it really took off quite a bit of any of that extra little sawdust that kind of came up out of the little diamond pockets. And now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on one more coat of this tung oil, and we'll let her dry, and then we'll call her pretty well done. So I'm just going to grab my tung oil here and just repeat the process just like the first and second time. And yeah, we're almost done. Well, our walking stick here is pretty well done. Just kind of wiping off any excess tung oil. That tung oil did just a phenomenal job, and it's looking really nice. You can see here it's nice and shiny. The wood grain in this thing is just beautiful. You know, the tung oil doesn't really make it pop and stand out, but it just keeps it so it's a nice kind of semi-shiny wood finish. And yeah, hopefully you guys can head out and try making one of these on your own. You don't exactly have to use diamond willow. You can use any regular hardwood, birch, alder, just a regular willow. And yeah, they turn out phenomenal. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Hopefully this gets you out into the woods on a kind of lazy Sunday, kind of like today, kind of a deal, where you can just kind of head out, peel some logs, let them dry for whatever it is, a month or two, kind of a thing. Sand her down, put some varnish on it, and yeah, it's a cool little project. And in the end, you're left with just a beautiful little walking stick. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit like down on the bottom there, leave me a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Catch you on the next one.